That is the sound of someone shuffling tarot cards. Did everybody survive yesterday's Sunday school? Everybody's Sunday school. I've got a lot of comments on my Sunday school sermon yesterday. I hope you get a chance to review it for its drama and wisdom. Anyway, I read tarot cards. I've read tarot cards for others for many, many, many years, probably going on 50 years now. My son is 51, so he was about 3 or something like that. Anyway, I've been reading tarot cards for a long time, to a lesser or greater extent. I won't say accurately at all because it's not an exact science. Okay. But once you become familiar with the cards, and once you've read the cards or attempted to or practiced reading the cards for other people, and over the years observe the behavior of the cards, they begin to speak to you because you have a history of these cards showing up in response to certain issues or questions that your clients have. And sort of they take on a very personalized, special meaning. Not that the meanings, in any significant way counteract the traditional definitions or meanings of the cards in certain positions, but they become very special for you. Like when the Eight of Swords comes up, I can look back at dozens of times when the Eight of Swords came up. I may or may not have intuited what it meant, but later on, as I see the circumstances unfold, I get what the Eight of Swords was trying to tell me. But anyway, let's just see what the top card. Oh boy. I shuffled the deck and got that Three of Swords, Sorrow, which is not a bad card, actually. Okay. But it's one that you're not happy to see usually because it's, sorrow. But Saturn is not unhappy in Libra. And threes are all very good because threes are of the supernal triad. And so even if it has a scary name like sorrow, it's so far above the abyss that we can't even wrap our brains around what sorrow means. Crowley even suggested, well, it's more like the sorrow of the illumination Buddha felt when the first stage of his awakening was, oh, gee, everything down here is sorrow. Yikes. There's got to be something better than this. But anyway, I do read tarot cards, and nowadays, especially in the last 3 years or so, I read them over the telephone at first, and now I do them hopefully on Facebook Messenger thing, that little thing in the corner, so I can show you the cards and we can see each other's faces while I read. But it is not something, that I do for a living. Okay. I would hate to think that, I would put the direct commercial value to a service like that. It's just, as a matter of fact, I don't think a tarot reader should charge for the readings at all, but their time is worth something, okay? But over the years, I've developed my own particular personal way of reading the cards. And after years of, well, for a while I tried that Golden Dawn multiple layered 2 hour complex divinatory system as outlined in the Book of Thoth and in my Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot. And then I decided, I can't interpret a 78 card reading, for Christ's sake. And so then I kind of moved to the Celtic Cross, which most everybody kind of starts off with. And in that spread, there's a field position for every card. This card represents you, this position is you, and this position are the forces that are opposing you. And this position is your conscious thoughts on the matter, and this position are your subconscious thoughts on the matter. And in this position, it's either the recent past or it is the cause of this position's effect. And then a stack with you on the bottom, and then your environment on the bottom, and your hopes and wishes on that position, and what is to come on the top position. And that works out pretty well too. And whether or not you settle on that particular spread, you get to know the cards. You get to know how the cards speak to you. You know how this card serves as a verb in your answer, or how this card serves as a noun in this. And the two cards on the either side of it could act as an adjective in the sentence of your answer, or this one as an adverb. You get the feel of it, and after a while, and for me it took many years. After a while, I just settled on something that serves me and my clients quite satisfactorily, and that's what I want to share with you today. Let's see, so I've got something here that I wanted to, where did I put it? I start off by shuffling the cards. Now, actually, about 10 minutes before my client calls up, I wash up, okay? I go to the bathroom, wash my hands, wash my face, okay? If it's in the morning or in the evening, I'll do it after my show. I gotta feel clean and holy. I gotta illustration of some kind, of purification of some kind. Then I shuffle the cards a few times, and then I invoke my holy guardian angel. Now, even the most corny professional tarot reader says a prayer before, and it might be to Jesus or some saints or something like that, which is very very common among at least Southern California tarot readers, professionals. But even the Masons say you don't ever do anything great and important undertaking without first invoking the blessing of deity. So Masons pray before we blow our nose magically or with intent. So sort of my cozy surrogate divine image for my holy guardian angel and my view of God, the singularity, is the Hindu god Ganesha. I love Ganesha. And so I chant Ganesha's name to a full rosary of 108 repetitions of the name Ganesha. And everything is different every time how I do this. I take my deck of cards after I've shuffled it a couple times, and then I deal them out in 4, 3, 6, 5 stacks. Every time is different. How many numbers of stacks? This time I'll just do 3 stacks. And I'll go Ganesh, 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 Ganesha, Ganesh, 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 Ganesha. That's 12 times. Ganesh, 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 Ganesha. And then I'll shuffle them a little. Ganesh, 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 Ganesha. And on that, and that's 24 right there. And on that completed of that whole song, then I put this card right outside there because that's 1 round of 24. And then maybe I'll flip the deck over and then go Ganesh, 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 Ganesha, Ganesh, 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 Ganesha. Ganesh, 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 Ganesha, Ganesh, 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 Ganesha, Ganesh, 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 Ganesh. Okay, so I do 4.5 rounds of Pop Goes Ganesha. And I keep track because I sort of zone out. Okay, I sort of go someplace and I lose track of how many rounds I've done. So these cards that I put up for the Ganesha keeps track for me. And at the end of 4 of them, I then go Ganesh, 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 Ganesha, Ganesh, 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 and that's 4.5. Now, if I run out of cards, I just pick up one of the stacks and use it to feed from. But the chant is always the same. I sort of zone out. I sort of zone out. And hearing the name of Ganesh, I sort of conjure up the image of Ganesh and all the wonderful things that a mantra does. And then my deck is shuffled. Now, when the client calls, and we talk about the question and try to find out exactly what is the question. Then I shuffle over the telephone or right here in front of them on Facebook Messenger, and I have them tell me when to stop. And then I'm going to describe what goes on. Hang on. This is from Tarot of Ceremonial Magic. And it's the classic Golden Dawn way of chanting Pop Goes Ganesha is this invocation. I invoke thee, Iao, that thou wilt send through the great angel that is set over the operations of the secret art, to lay his hand invisibly upon these consecrated cards of art, that thereby we may obtain true wisdom of hidden things to the glory of thine ineffable name. Amen. Now, my pop goes Ganesha, for me, puts me in a place that a cold repetition of that Golden Dawn invocation does not. It might for you, it doesn't for me. Shuffle and cut. Okay, after the client and I just discover the question, and we have to both be comfortable with that's the question they really want answered. Shuffle the cards thoroughly for about 1 or 2 minutes, well, until they tell me to stop, while calmly concentrating on the question. Now, I don't tell them to clear their minds. I don't say, close your eyes and empty your mind. I say, no, wallow in your question. Get all anxious. Just get crazy, get manic about your question, because I want that to go into that shuffle. Then set the deck face down upon the table and cut them in 2 piles, or have the questioner cut them in 2 piles. Well, I can't do that with the over the telephone. But then I turn the entire deck face up on the table. Then I carefully fan the cards out from left to right in a large horseshoe. And without disturbing the order of the cards, I locate their significator. Now, I choose the court card, one of the 12 court cards, the kings or knights, queens, and princes, which represent 30 degrees each of the zodiac. So each of us have either a knight or a queen or a prince that is our significator, our birthday card. So I choose that as the significator. Without disturbing the order of the cards, locate the significator. Be careful to keep the cards in order. Take the significator and all the cards to its right to form a stack. And while this stack is still face up, the significator should be the bottom card. Get it? Now again, being careful to keep the cards in order, restack the left portion of the horseshoe and place it face up upon the right stack. Now turn the whole deck face down, and the significator should be the top card on the that you would turn over in the reading. Okay. So in that case, I would take, oh, hello there. I'm going to do this and describe. I'm fanning them out, and I'm going to look for the Queen of Cups, which is my significator. Okay, where are you? Okay. And there's the prince, there's the knight. Okay, talk amongst yourselves. Let's see here. Well, it just so happens I'm not in here. I tell you, it's happened before. Now, there we go. Okay, so I found the Queen of Cups. Now all the cards that remain to the left, I'm scooping up. I haven't, and I'm putting it right on the top there, face up still. And now the Queen of Cups is top card on the deck. And I'm going to read from there. Now, it is 1,000 times, it sounds 1,000 times more complicated than it is to actually do it. Okay? I could show you how that was done in maybe 15 seconds. But it's kind of hard. Okay, this is DuQuette's Roll with the Flow. And I'm quoting from my book, Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot. I guess we could say this technique is intuitive and organic. It literally rolls with the flow of the questioner's unique and sometimes changing focus of inquiry. The first and most important thing that needs to be determined is, what's the real question? It's seldom what the questioner believes it to be at the beginning of the operation. Get to the heart of what the real question is, and you'll find the answer glaring at you from every observable phenomenon. Sometimes, using the method outlined below, you may have to do more than one preliminary reading just to draw out what is really on the questioner's mind. Now, this is a very common thing to happen. Even after we think we know what the questioner really wants, and they're very adamant, and yeah, that's my question, tell me what it is. And then we do the reading, we cut the cards, do a little roll the flow reading here. But that reading brings up things like with tarot of ceremonial magic and sort of indirectly every tarot deck, many of the cards, indeed all of the small cards of the lesser arcana, have dates associated with them. And there's I Ching hexagrams associated with certain 16 of the court cards. And so the reading might not make all that much sense at first. And so I'll ask, what was happening back in mid-May? Oh, yeah, this or that happened in mid-May, and that set into motion all of the things that, are relevant to this thing. But in the process of discussion, many times the real question that's in their heart, the real reason that even they didn't know consciously when they ask for the reading, surfaces. And even though we've gone to all that trouble, we finally have the question. And I never hesitate to say, okay, now we know what you want to know. Let's do this again. And I don't do the Pop Goes Ganesha thing again, because Ganesha is already bubbling away successfully in those cards. But I do shuffle again. They tell me when to stop. I do spread them out. I do find their significator. I do cut the deck and reassemble. And then I read in response to that question. Am I making any sense? This part of the reading is very important because when the questioner has come face to face with the real query, they already know in their heart of hearts what the answer is. After the questioner shuffles the deck to his or her satisfaction, well, that's when I'm in person, find the significator or the prince representing the 30 degrees of their, or the knight, queen, or prince, representing the 30-degree period in which they were born. Cut the deck at the significator, reassemble the deck, and lay the significator toward the top of the table. That S is the significator, okay? Just set it at the top of the, you don't particularly have to bother with attributing any of the Myers-Briggs sub-elemental meanings of the significator. It's just you start the reading of this universal answer. You start that answer with them. Okay, then you draw 3 cards, place them from left to right. This is how I do it, left to right, just like that. That's 1A, 2A, and 3A. Lay the significator toward the top of the table to remind you both of who the questioner is in the tarot. It's not me. Next, draw from the top of the deck the next 3 cards and lay them out thusly. Instead of these 3 A-level cards representing past, present, or future, which they might, or 3 others such defined field positions, simply use these 3 cards to announce or determine 3 aspects or factors of the question or the issue. Comment on each card and discuss it with the client in general terms. I'd like to say, hey, do you see your question in these cards? This card generally means this, and this card generally means that. And can you see what your question in this card? Is this in any way describing it? Any of these court cards, characters in your question? Explain how it harmonizes, or each card, how it harmonizes or conflicts with the other 2 cards. At this point in the session, we simply want the questioner to tentatively recognize major aspects of the issue, possibly represented in these cards. Usually, after a brief discussion, the questioner becomes comfortable with how each of the 3 cards can represent these issues. Now, if you or the questioner absolutely cannot see aspects of the question in these cards, then you have to talk about it for quite a while before you say, nah, I don't see anything in there. Then don't be afraid to reshuffle and begin again. Now, I have to say that at least 85% of all the readings I do for people, they are satisfied with the cards counsel with just those 3 cards. Another small percentage of the remaining percentage will say, you know, that's not really my question. Those cards help me figure out what my real question is. Then we do another reading to that new question. But very, very seldom, it's become very rare that we have to go to the second layer. Okay. Let's see. The next step is to encourage the questioner to purposely take control of the reading, selecting which of the 3 cards, or all of them, but which of them they still have questions on. Which of those 3 cards intrigue them the most? In our hypothetical example below, the questioner pretty much understands the meanings of cards 1A and 3A are telling, but the questioner is intrigued by 2A. Questioner is concerned about that one right in the middle. See? I understand 1A, yeah, that's my Uncle Fred, the bastard. And I understand this 3A, oh yeah, that's the company he just stole out from under my family. Gee, but I don't know what the heck this hermit card or whatever it is in 2A. I want to know more about that 2A. And so we draw 2 more cards. to find out more about 2A. Now, they could get really, really clueless and say, I don't know anything about any of those three cards, but I want to find out more. Well, then we'd have to put a pair of Bs under 1A and 1B2. I mean, lay out, full-blown 6 of them down there. Every reading can be different. That's why I call it roll with the flow. Okay. Well, let's see. But the questioner is intrigued by 2A and wants more information about what 2A is trying to reveal. So we now create a second or B level by drawing the next 2 cards from the top of the deck. We'll call them 4B and 5B, and lay left to right below 2A, just like we've done there. These 2 cards define or expand upon the meaning of 2A. Discuss the meanings and relationship of these cards. And like I said, it seldom gets that far. If you or the questioner is still unclear about the final answer, then create a third or C level by drawing the next card from the top of the deck and placing it below 4B and 5B to synthesize or clarify or summarize what 4B and 5B is trying to say. Okay. Now, if the questioner absolutely does not understand the answer, it's best to reshuffle and begin again, perhaps asking a better worded question. When done with great attention and self-honesty, this almost always is enough for a satisfactory reading. Actually, it's more than enough. If, however, the question sincerely believes they need further insight on other cards, simply draw more cards and repeat the process by creating B and C levels for the other A-level cards. Indeed, there's nothing to stop this reading from going down as many levels as you feel necessary. But this is what happens as you go deeper and deeper or lower and lower and create more and more levels. It has been my experience that the fewer the cards, the clearer the answer. The more cards you use, the deeper you descend into micro-specifics that can be unhelpful and make the unimportant aspects of the questions harder to discern. I have found the simple method of allowing the questioner to become the primary participant in his or her own reading to be surprisingly clear and accurate. With so few cards in the spread, the type of card, trump, ace, court card, or small card, becomes especially significant. And the classic rules of thumb are, the abundance of trumps indicate a destiny moment, or abundance of small cards point to a moment or period of time in the client's life over which they have much control. And their behavior and their decisions can actually change a lot. There's times when you're just on a big karmic wave, and the big karmic destiny forces around you, you're like on the top of a huge wave. There's not much you can do to paddle your little surfboard one way or the other. Those periods don't last long, but they do occur, and an abundance of trumps usually tells you that. And abundance of court cards suggest other people, and they might actually be identified by their birthdays, if you know their birthdays. An abundance of wands suggests a client's life purpose or their will, their career, or relating to a question of a business nature. It's pointing toward that aspect. Abundance of cups might suggest issues such as love, art, creativity, and sex are key factors. And an abundance of swords might suggest conflict, anxiety, or health, either good or ill, as a key factor. And the abundance of discs might suggest money, is a key factor, or the physical body itself. And I mentioned that each of the 36 small cards represents 10 degrees of the period. So actually the client has two birthday cards. Their court card, which represents the 30-degree period in which they were born, and the small card, which zeroes in on the 10-degree period of their birth. So when their birthday card, small card, comes up in a reading, it often draws the attention back to the personality, the character in the answer's story of the questioner themselves. Anyway, that's my little Babylon's roll with the flow tarot technique, and I bring it up because I have been doing a lot of tarot readings, throughout the pandemic, and I enjoy doing it, and it's something that I always try to schedule when people want to arrange. But anyway, that's it. I'm putting my deck away here. Until tomorrow, when it'll be a parking lot. Hopefully, if the car makes it. Until then, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. Ganesha.